What's up, y'all? It's a beautiful day in the park. Come out to get a little flow in. I thought it was the perfect day for me to bust out my rope and see if we can tackle this beast of a tutorial for the overhand sneak. Now, I know people have seen maybe some of the other tutorials and had a hard time with it, but today we're going to see if we can get to the bottom of it and show you guys exactly how to get it done. All right, so we're gonna jump right in and teach you guys how to do the overhand sneak like a pro, right? The first thing though is there are a couple of prerequisites I want you to consider before you jump into trying to learn this particular movement. And one of them is having a really good and comfortable figure of 8 movement with either hand, with both hands I should say. So that's important because the sneak really is essentially just this figure of 8 movement here where you're taking this one hand and putting it behind your back instead of leaving it in front. So this front hand is doing the same motion here in either case, right? If you can see that. There's a figure of 8 now, there's a figure of 8 right now, okay? So the second thing, of course, is that you really need to have the mobility in your shoulder to be able to take your hand and turn it behind your back, okay? It doesn't have to be way up high, you don't have to have the super mobile shoulders, but you want to have at least the back of your hand somewhere around the opposite pocket, okay? Opposite back pocket of your pants. I'll give you an idea. You can look at it from here. You don't need to have this ability to go way up high, but you want to not have pain or discomfort with your hand back down around here somewhere, lower back or your back pocket. So with those two prerequisites out of the way, if you don't have pain or discomfort doing either one of those things, and don't forget, you want to do your overhand sneak with either hand, right? And you want to get a good amount of this pronation and supination of your wrist when you're going around to make sure that you're controlling the rope well, but also to make sure that you got good verticality. You should be comfortable with this movement. So if you can do those two things, you're ready to learn the overhand sneak. Now, we're going to break this move down into basically steps, right? There's 4 steps we're going to talk about this. The step 1, where the rope is on I like to start with our dominant side. So with my hands near my hips, we're going to start the first move, which is to make sure we're doing overhand. So the rope's got to be coming down and back. It's got to be going toe to heel direction, right? My palms are kind of facing one another here to start. And I'm going to use the first move and we're going to circle it across almost like a matador, right? So it really is a matador. The first move is to take the rope and cross to the other side. Now both hands are on the opposite side, okay? So that's point 1 here, right? Point 2 is here. I want you to take notice before we go to point 3 and 4 that one thing happens that's very critical. I'm going to start here. I got square feet. I'm squared up to you. I'm going to start here with my lead shoulder kind of torso twisted right here. And then as I cross over, I shift my weight from starting point to the opposite point and my other shoulder takes over. Now this is important to note because although you can certainly do an overhand figure 8 without much shoulder or torso twisting, it's not recommended because, especially as a person who's starting out, you're just making it harder for yourself. So when you do have a little bit of a shoulder and torso twist, for one thing, it's good for your spine. For another thing, it gives you more room to pass that rope. It makes it, the margin for error is much greater. So keep that in mind. Almost maybe practice this sort of torso twisting, okay? Starting from here, going to there. I'll show you with a little bit more exaggerated my torso twist there. So you see how this is so much easier, right? All right, so that's back to the steps, right? Point 1, all right, swing the rope in an overhand fashion, go up and over, cross over to the other side, point 2. Now point 3 is where it gets a little bit tricky for most, right? Which is because you've got to convince your brain that it's okay to take this opposite hand and bend it behind your back at this point because it's got this rope in it. And it's like, what is going to happen? Is it magic? How's the rope going to get through my body? So what you're going to do is I want you to just take the rope. At this point, we're going to do another swing, right? Get our momentum going down and back, toe to heel. And then we're going to work on just moving the hand to the back and stopping. So we want to just make sure we get the rope over our head with this front hand, right? It's guided over our head and then stop there, okay? Now, there's a couple of things you can notice about the energy in the rope. Whenever you're going to control the rope, you're always giving it energy at the very least on the downward as it approaches the ground. But the rest of it is actually taking place from momentum and gravity, right? So that I'm giving it energy here, but I'm just guiding it here. So as the rope starts to go back, you sneak it automatically. you just bring this hand from here right back to there. Thumb is facing up, palm is facing away from your body. Okay, so the rope goes back, hand goes back with it. Rope goes back, hand goes back with it. Hopefully you can see that on the thing. My palm is like here when I start with the rope, and I bring it back to here. And I want you to get comfortable with that. That's why I like you to just drill this. Get the rope over your head, get your hand back. Don't worry about bringing it back around yet. Just drill this move from point 2 to point 3. That's important. Probably the most important thing, because most people, or many people, they do have this sort of cognitive, control disconnect about that hand going back there, because maybe it's something you don't do on a regular basis. So practice those things. Practice starting at point 1, crossing over to the other side of your body, point 2, and then going from there to over your head. Now that is probably the trickiest part, but then the next trickiest part is getting back. So in order to work on that, I want you to start at point 3 here, right, where you left off. Okay, now we got this hand back here, we got this hand in front. Now the thing is, this rope's got to be going down and back again, and we're going to do the same things before. We're going to just guide the rope as we get momentum there. We're going to guide this rope up and over our head with our front hand here, our lead hand, and bring it back out, okay? So keep in mind that this back hand is actually coming back around. Just the easiest way. One thing people seem to struggle sometimes with is how to get this hand back there. The easiest way is from here to just bring it down. Like, I guess I put it this way. Bring it down and turn it around, okay? So from here is down and turn it around. So I'll show you from the side in slow motion. Right? So let's start from the side view. I'm starting with my hands on this side. We're going to bring it down and around, okay? So you just want to drill that. Drill the control of your front hand where it is getting the rope back over your head, and the back hand where it's coming just back out to the front. So don't worry about trying to put it all together all at once. I want you to make sure you just work on the points. 1, point 2, right? Point 3, and then point 4, back out, okay? Now I want to talk about one potential area of confusion that some people might have, or whether it's something you've learned somewhere else in the past. And this is why I don't teach this move, but there's some people who like to do their sneaks without a full bending of the elbow, right? Without the thumb facing up and behind your back, without the palm facing away from your body. And what they do is they try to turn pretty much a dragon roll, right? So you have a dragon roll here, right? I'll show you. And they turn that dragon roll into a sneak by just a straight arm sneak almost. And I don't like that, because it robs you of the ability to get the full range of motion that the sneak is giving you, right? One of the purposes of rope flow is to kind of improve our mobility, or at least maintain our mobility. And if you don't get that rotation, that internal rotation of your shoulder here, you're kind of robbing yourself of that potential gain of having a rope flow practice. So I don't teach it that way. It's okay if you've already learned that. These kinds of drills can help you to unlearn it. So we're going to talk a little bit about some of the key drills you can do. Of course, it's the front overhand figure of 8, right? It's very good to drill this, right? But you can also, if you have, some people find this to be challenging, other people don't, so I always teach it. But you can also take the backhand and do a similar drill where you are bringing the rope behind your back, right? And that's going to get you really good control for a lot of things besides just the sneak. And I'll show this to you from the side here, right? So I can take this down and back, right? Down and back, and I can take that rope and I'll bring my hand around and try to keep it as close to my body as possible on each side, so the rope can be nice and vertical. But what I'm doing there is getting the motion, right? Not only the range of motion, not only the mobility, but the mental, the motor neuron coordination to get the sneak, right? So you can actually practice both the overhand figure 8, which hopefully you've already learned before starting this video, as well as the backward part of it, which is the behind the back figure 8 that's going on. And when you practice the two of those separately and independently, you'll get much better at that hand movement, right? That hand movement that's taking place every time you do this figure 8. on the back side. So there's one other drill I want to show you that is especially useful if you have an issue with the timing, right? You can get the coordination, but the timing is a problem of when to bring that back arm out to the front. So this drill is a combination of using the figure 8 in the front hand, right? And then marrying the timing with that front hand. So when it's going down on the cross side of your body, like if you're in your right hand, if it's crossing your left side of your body, where that left hand is, you want to send the left hand back at that point, as it's almost chasing your left hand away. And as it chases the left hand, it goes back, so you can get the rhythm of the timing of that swoop right there, right? So you can do the same thing with either hand, right? So as this hand is coming around to my left, from left to right, my right hand is going to go back, right? There we go. So you can work on that, and I'll show you from the side how it looks, right? As this hand chases this hand away, it goes back. Chases it away, comes back. Chases it away, comes back. So hopefully that will be useful for you in terms of whatever your sticking point might be. When you work on the figure 8s, I want you to make sure you do like every other movement, both sides. Okay, so we've looked at one side, we looked at the right hand side, we talked about point 1, point 2, all right, point 3, and then back to point 1, point 4 over here, coming back around. We're going to do the same thing briefly because it's just the inverse, but we're going to still show the opposite, where the non-dominant hand is in front, the sneaking hand of the dominant side is in the back, right? So it's the same thing. We're going to start on the non-dominant side. We're going to get that motion going down and back, right? And we're going to go, oh, I'm sorry. We're going to start down and back. We're going to cross over, right, to the dominant side. So it's 1, point 2. And as we get to that dominant side, we're going to go the motion again of point 2 down and back, where point 3 is here, right? Where the same thing happens. We go down and back, and we turn that opposite hand elbow behind our back so that we have the same palm facing away, the same back of the hand to the body, same thumb is up, okay? And once we're there, we get that motion of over the head, controlling it with our non-dominant side. The reason this is more challenging for most folks is because that the majority of the control for this move comes from the front hand, even though the back hand is working, right? So that is one of the reasons why people struggle. But once you get that point 2, point 3, then you work on the same thing as before, which is to get it back up over your head, right? So I did it wrong that way. I don't want to show it that way. You want to get that back up, down and back, and you come over your head and bring that palm back around to the front. So it's this motion of over and to the front. It's like down and around to the front, okay? Now, one last point I wanted to make that is commonly an issue, especially if your rope gets tangled up a lot when it comes around to the side, the front hand side, if that rope tangles up right here a lot, right, what's probably happening is, 1, you may not have enough torso twist. 2, you might not have enough of your hand kind of getting farther out to the outside. And 3, you might not be doing a good enough job of giving that downward motion and like kind of bringing that rope down and then bringing it around, okay? Because that backhand is not that passive. It still has some, degree of ability to guide the rope, and that's what really makes a smooth-looking overhand sneak. So if you don't use your backhand at all, it will look, maybe if I can show you, it will look less smooth, and you see a lot of twisted ropes and a lot of ropes getting tangled up, okay? When you use that backhand to control the pattern there, it's going to make a big difference. Another point that I can give you for a coaching tip is that we've been showing this with a square foot stance, right? Where our feet are about shoulder width apart and the toes are on the same plane in front of me. But if you set one foot back a little bit, not far, you don't want to do a lunge or squat, but just a little bit where we have a split stance. If you notice, that automatically gives me a bit of a torso twist, right? I've already got my hips a little bit twisted, so when I start to do my sneak now, you see I can have easier twisting because I've got this split stance where my right foot here is a little bit forward. It automatically, if I'm square, I'm like this. If I'm split stance, I'm already like this with a little bit of a torso twist before I even make a move. So that can help you a lot of times. Now, of course, another point to make is that people who start trying to learn the sneaks, they often see someone else doing them, and they worry about trying to jump in and do what we call alternating sneaks, right? Which is where you're sneaking on one side and then the other side without stopping in between. I think it's not a good idea. I think you're gonna maybe slow your progress down by doing that. It's a better idea to get really good at the sneaks on both sides, right? So just work on this sneak here on one side. Here's my dominant side in front, right? When I had enough time working on that, work on the opposite sneak where my non-dominant side is in front. And then you can work on what they call alternating sneaks, where you don't stop in between, you just go from side to side. I think it's better to do that. You'll find yourself learning a lot more quickly. And those drills I mentioned will come in handy as well to kind of just train that movement into your body. So one tip I have for you guys that might not sound like much, but I found it to be very useful, is that you really shouldn't try to implement all the things at once that I've taught you today in this video. So you want to make sure you just pick one or maybe two things that are most important and work on those things before you try to just jump in and do everything, because your body's going to get confused and it won't work as well. Well, hopefully you found this video useful and it'll help you get your overhand sneak. Please let me know in the comments how it goes for you, and if you need additional help, check us out at strongerflow.com. We're there to help anytime you need it.